Starting from the 70s and 80s, we had governments trying to privatize everything and cut spending in the name of efficiency. And then they noticed that finance and banking noticed that demand was weakening in the economy, so they went to the government and said, we can't be profitable anymore unless you change all these rules that stop us from lending in a particular way. So the government changed those rules, and then the banks started lending more and more, and private credit exploded. And that's what kept up demand in the economy for a really long time. And during that time, reserve banks could change the interest rate in order to heat up or slow down the economy. And that's because people's income, their disposable income, was defined by the interest that they paid on their mortgages. But eventually, the private sector can't go any further into debt, so they can't keep demand up. Then demand starts to weaken and businesses start to lay people off. And what happens then is that the government notices that they're getting less tax, and so they say, oh, well, we have to cut spending. And that weakens demand further still in the economy, which means that businesses lay more people off. But instead of increasing taxes, governments are like, well, okay, if we increase taxes, that means businesses won't be able to invest enough and they'll lay more people off. And so that's going to weaken demand still. So what we better do is just cut spending on welfare. And that's what means, and then give tax breaks to big business. This system is called sound finance. It's based on the fact that the government must tax or borrow in order to fund its expenditure, and that privatization is good and deregulation of finance is good. The opposite is true. What we need is called functional finance, which is where the government decides how much to spend in order to maintain demand in the economy, and that's called the spending gap, the gap between how much people consume and how much they save. So the government should do that in order to maintain full employment. And here's the economics of it can be confusing, but here's a quick analogy. If we're in a car and we were going 40 on the highway and we were in first gear, and the car was redlining, the revs were up too high, and the driver said, oh, we can't go any faster because we're redlining, so that's as fast as we can go. And you said, oh, right, but couldn't you just change gears and then we could go faster? And they said, oh yeah, we could go faster by changing gears, but that's really unsafe because there was a car once that crashed going faster than 40. You don't want to crash, do you? Never mind the fact that car that crashed was going 180. The driver says, oh, we can't go faster than 40. It's an arbitrary constraint. And what that corresponds to is people saying that if we allow the government to spend to the public purpose and maintain full employment, we'll have runaway inflation. We'll be like Zimbabwe. Haven't you heard about Zimbabwe? They're the car that crashed one time going 180. We could go faster than 40, we could go 60, we could go 80, maybe we could go 100 or 120 and it would still be safe. But the driver of the car is saying, oh, no, we're redlining, we can't change gears because that's not safe. What we need to do is change gears. We need to change the conversation around what's affordable and what the government can spend in order to do it to the public purpose, not according to this idiotic sound finance idea that the government has to tax or borrow for every dollar that it spends. We need functional finance, and that's what this petition is all about. So please sign it, spread the word, and get everyone you can on board. Thanks very much.